Come and check this out, a hidden secret supercar collection here on the streets of New York City. Welcome to the garage of WhipsnbeatsNYC, where we've got a lot to take in. There are some Ferraris, there are some Porsches, there are a ton of very nice cars. Now we're here with my two Fords, my Dark Horse and my Ford GT. A fun story for you. 5 years ago, this car was parked right here when I came to visit. Since then though, the collection has grown. There are some amazing things. We're talking 5 Ferraris right here, including some very special and rare cars. Not only those though, come through towards the other side of the garage, because this is where we have the Porsches, including the brand new Oslo Blue 992 GT3 RS and a new 996 GT3 RS and plenty more. We're going to take a look around at the cars. We're going to talk about the memorabilia, all of the things that have changed. This is my kind of garage. This was an inspiration for the Shmuseum. Hi guys, I'm Shmi. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Let's take a look around here at the collection of WhipsnbeatsNYC. We're going to come back in a moment to all of the Ferraris, the Porsches, the likes of the M4 GTS and all of the other cars, but I want to come down this way to get us started, where amusingly the only 2 American cars currently here are my 2, the Ford GT, exactly where it was, and the Mustang Dark Horse. Now, by way of a bit of background, if you're not familiar with New York City, the concrete jungle, it's not exactly the right home for supercars. It's a bit of an off-road course adventure every time you go anywhere, and most collectors tend to be out in New Jersey or perhaps up towards Connecticut. So the fact that this lurks literally on the streets, where outside there are sirens, there's a dog that's yapping away, there's all sorts of noises, I find that really pretty cool. Now I want to come down this way to get us started. We'll go through all of the cars and I want to show you some of the memorabilia as well. But first up is the CLK 63 Black Series. You guys know how much I love the Black Series cars. I've got my SLS and AMG GT Black Series models. I had a C63. This is one of the rarer cars. The tag on it, I have to point out, is incredibly suitable. And you will notice as we go for a look around, the number plates, the license plates on the cars in this collection are absolutely top tier. They have been planned so very well. This, I think, might even have been right here when I actually came by before, but there are plenty of things that have changed. We come past the S63, very nice way to get around. Height of luxury with a bit of V8 power as well, to something perhaps a little bit more suited to the type of off-road driving that you have in the Big Apple, the G-Wagon, the G63, satin black, bull bars on the front, and extra protection, you've got Shmoo the cow inside. The owner of the collection has very kindly acquired a Shmoo the cow that's in there, and not just one, as you might see as we go exploring. We get though to the Ferraris, and probably one of the rarest Ferrari models that very few people know all that much about is what we have up here, the 599 GTB 60 F1, often called the Alonso edition. They made 60 of these back in 2012, celebrating the 60 years of Ferrari in F1. In Rosso Scuderia, there were a couple of different paint options that you could spec on the car. So coming in closer, you can see that this one has the white nose lip here, but it doesn't have the white paint down the side, which many of them do have. Super cool, incredibly rare, and appreciating in value like you couldn't imagine. Beneath it though, the next generation of Ferrari V12 was of course the F12 TDF, and I have to say, I have a soft spot for this. It's Giallo Triplo Strato, one of the 799. I actually remember sitting in this car and starting it up, a cold start last time. But that limited edition Ferrari Versione Speciale, it came after the 599 GTO, it came before the 812 Competizione. It's such a cool car that as time is going by, I think is looking better and better. It's just getting even nicer if that's possible. They actually launched it back at the time in yellow and a bit of red as well. Up top in Nart Blue is a Ferrari 360, which was the first Ferrari in the collection. It's a car that I guess isn't driven all that much nowadays, but I love seeing that still part of it. That's something I always like, a bit of a story, right? It was a car that was very important, very significant, and it's still here as well, sitting over the 458 Speciale. Now I bleat on about 458s. The Speciale, 4.5 litre naturally aspirated V8, not specifically a limited car. It's believed that they made in the region of 4,000 of them. The Speciale A, the Aperta, was limited to just 499. You can see more of those on exclusive car registry. But this, in the launch specification, the Rosso Corsa with the nut blue stripe and the white detailing, there's something about it. The mid-engine V8 Ferrari. That's why when I bought my first brand new Ferrari, it was an SF90, a mid-engined V8 Ferrari supercar. It just felt like the way that I wanted to go with it. Next up, though, is a car that's newer than when I last visited, the Ferrari 488 Pista. This is in blue TDF, the same color as my first GTC4 Lusso, with the painted tricolore stripe, the green, white and red, which I always think is a really nice nod, especially when you can see on the interior as well. It has the same stripe to match down the middle of the seats. Those kinds of details, when you look in through the window, are what always makes a car stand out to me so much. I think they just look incredibly smart, especially with the red going on in there as well, the red Alcantara that you have throughout the interior. I'm going to draw your attention though to one of our Cheers stickers, me doing my thumbs up right there on the car lifts. In fact, many of the lifts are new. In this room, there was just the end one when I was here before. The other two are new. Now, up top, again, spot the tag, GTS M4, is indeed an M4 GTS, one of only 700 that BMW made of these. And it's a car that I have actually driven one a while ago. They also made the DTM Champion Edition that came afterwards based on the same kind of thing, but taking the M4 of that generation, dialing it up significantly, and just really quite cool collector BMW at the end of the day. Like I say, limited edition, not so many of them in total. We have another Shmuseum sticker. He's taking a photo just here, but we're going to squeeze past because I want to show you some of the memorabilia, because I love this stuff, right? All of the model cars, I think some that have even come from the White Collection, which we visited. Oh, that's cool. Of the Porsche Museum statue that they have being shown out here as well, and a collection of sneakers and other memorabilia. And this is how the Shmuseum started, with just collecting stuff and then ultimately needing somewhere to display it all and going full hog and just going, I'm going to say a little bit crazy with displaying memorabilia, but I absolutely love it. And then of course back here, I'm going to draw your attention to more of the tags. Pista with the New York graphic, PSTA, but it works. Coming past on the Speciale, we have 458 SPC, Speciale. The top two, I believe, don't have registrations, but we've got 12 TDF on the F12 TDF. Again, very, very suitable for the car that lurks back there. And I like this tucked away, chill out area. Obviously, you can see the owner's origins and roots through the painting that's around the exterior of the garage walls. It's really nice, but there are some Porsches next door, so let's go take a look. Before we move on, look up here. We have another Shmuseum with Mr. Sheep as well. Mr. Sheep from F-Spot. The two of them are definitely lurking up here, watching over everything in the garage. Another thing that's changed since I came before is the flooring. It makes such a big difference to a garage. When you do something that's planned, it looks so much smarter, and of course, tiles are ideal for these kinds of cars. And we're going to come down this line because I didn't really show you here before. We're going to come back to that in a moment. In fact, we're going to come back to this as well because this is really quite fun. But start at the very end, the Cayenne Turbo GT, the Porsche GT product on the Cayenne platform. And the color of this is Goodwood green metallic with the gold wheels and the gold stripe detail down the side. And I honestly have to say, this looks amazing. This looks really, really smart, more so than I would have expected. I've only very briefly driven one of these. I haven't had a full outing in a Turbo GT, but everybody I know who has one and has driven it has always been a very big fan of it. In fact, look at the big artworks, the model cars, all of the different bits of memorabilia. This is the stuff that I love in a garage, things that any car person just accumulates throughout their life, all of the different models, and has somewhere in a dream world to put them. That's what this is about, presenting all of that stuff. And you're no longer, as we've joked before, a hoarder, you become a collector once it's on display. That's a fun picture, which was taken by Owen on Gumball when we were there with the GT Black series, which I love seeing up on the wall here because we were so proud of getting that shot and making it work. It took a little bit of planning and timing, we could say. The Dakar, or the Dakar, if you're from out here, one of the most suitable cars for New York City. The slightly lifted, more dailyable, usable Porsche 911 limited edition. This is the 1974 East Africa livery as well. But not only that, is if you come round towards the back of it, not only in here is Shmuseum watching over as well, with a model of the exact same car, but I love this because on the rear bumper is the Cheers sticker and the Shmuseum sticker. And the particular reason I mentioned them, with Dakar on the plate of course as well, is that when this car went to an event recently, I got a lot of pictures sent to me of that. So thank you very much to all of you guys who actually spotted this TGT on the Turbo GT. It's all so well planned. But we moved to the GT2 RS, which by the way, the paint color of this, it's PTS, is Golf Blue, and not golf like that golf with a U, but golf with an O, the Sport Golf. That's the name of this color. It's a very rare specification. Only a few of them were made in this color to begin with. This is non-Weissach because at the time you couldn't have Weissach and PTS when this was ordered. So it means that it's really one of a kind almost, and the offset color wheels. We actually took a photo of this car with the Ford GT in the driving rain, driving around New York City back when I was out here 5 years ago. The photo was stunning. I need to bring that up on screen to share with you. Props to the photographer for handling that, because it was quite intense, I'm not gonna lie. But this is where some of the new arrivals start to play. First up, we have the Spider RS. Now, I've not driven a Spider RS, I've driven the GT4 RS. This is vanadium gray, but it's a car that on paper, I must absolutely love. Like, everything about it just ticks every single box that you could imagine. The GT engine, perhaps a little bit fussy to put the roof down, but that's a different topic. This, however, is the big brother, the PTS GT3 RS, the 992 generation. This is brand new. It's literally arrived here today in Oslo blue. It's a PTS paint color. It's quite a cool color, especially with the wheels and again, the stripes. I don't think I really need to give much by way of an introduction of the 992 GT3 RS. You know about them. It is absolutely bonkers. And at the back of the thing, it has a bit of a picnic table with its active aero, everything that's going on up here, DRS, the whole lot, crazy thing, bonkers machine. Another very new arrival from Ryan Friedman Motorcars, who we've obviously just visited, is this, the 996 GT3 RS. And what makes this so special is these weren't sold here in the United States. The only way to have one is to have brought it over or bought it more recently, of course, with the different rules with show and display when it's less than 25 years old, and then federalizing it when it's a little bit older. It's from, I believe, about 2004, so nearly at that stage, but really cool to see that here. It's sitting under a car that I really love, the 991 911R, one of 991 cars in total in the world, and this one was spec'd with all of the lightweight options. We're talking the single mass flywheel, we're talking no air conditioning. It makes it a raw and extreme drive, but the best limited edition ultimate 991.1 911 before, of course, the .2s came along as well. Next to it, down here, is the ultraviolet 901.1 GT3 RS. So this was the kind of car that they took to make the 911R, but with a manual gearbox, PDK only in these. I've always loved this color. I think I might actually have said it the last time I was here as well, that one day I'd like to have an ultraviolet car of some description. As another siren goes past, welcome to the Big Apple. Up above it, though, is technically its successor, the 901.2 GT3 RS in lizard green, which is very similar to the Gelbgrün that I had on my 901.2 GT3. And I know it gets very confusing when we start talking about model numbers of Porsche cars. It's really hard to keep in touch with it all. And I've just spotted more Shmuseum stickers. I love that, lurking all around. Up top, over towards this side, is a 997.2 GT3. Now, you might notice we've seen a lot of GT3 RSs. There's no 3.8 or 4 litre of those. There are 7 different GT3 RS models. Maybe that's one for the future, because down below is the 997.1 GT3 RS. And we started this last time, and that makes a complete racket as well. But that is, of course, the car that came before technically that one, and then the 3.8 and the 4 litre came after those. Now, I'm going to try and sneak carefully through here. We're going to delicately move towards the back of the garage, coming under the lifts, which is always a little bit of an interesting move to try and make, because back here, a couple of other things that I need to show you, namely plates on the cars. We have to start there. I mean, look at this, right? Come over here. RS 997. Yes, it's a 997 RS. That needs something special. RS Lizard, because RS 991 is down here. No prizes for guessing what will go down towards the far end. But also, while we're back here, I really like these. I need to get myself some of these online just to make life a little bit easier, because our tire rack storage that we have at the Shmuseum is a little bit awkward. It's a little bit big and clunky, and these kind of fit a whole lot better and could probably work going through our storage doors and look after all of my spare wheels and tires, because I have a ton of them back at the barn. These things just seem to accumulate and end up being absolutely everywhere. A couple of other things though, let's head back out. You've got to have a desk set up in a garage. Love that as well. But also, check this out, the pictures of the build. And of course, I took so many photos as we were creating the Shmuseum. and perhaps I should put some of them up on display as a way of seeing something similar, the whole process to actually transform the place and turn it into what we have here now, into the garage that displays all of the cars. I mean, look at that view. These two are, of course, new additions. RS Spy could not be more perfect, but the whole display, the setup is just really, really nice. Even things like the flags up at the top, the pictures and memorabilia that are around the walls, different number plates that are on display as well, pictures and things. I think there are even more up here than there were when I came by before. And then the view between the different buildings, I think a little bit too narrow to squeeze a car through, but these were different storage spaces. It actually makes for quite a cool view to almost separate out the Porsches that are over to this side, the 6 here, 2, then 3 that are behind me, and the Ferraris over there. Maybe the M4 GTS needs to be replaced by a future Ferrari edition to create a Ferrari wall at the back of that side of the garage. I didn't mention before the Harley Davidson, and I tell you what, I'm not a bike guy. I'm sorry to say I don't know that much about two wheels, but there's something fun about having a bike on display in a collection, especially if you were to do something like putting that up on there, for example, where, as it happens, there is a Shmuseum G63. Remember we did those with mini shunts back at the time, which is kind of cool as well. Not only that, but also a Bugatti scooter. I have things like this, electric bikes, scooters, fun garage memorabilia, but I want to tell you about these. Porsche now do the PTS colors as paints. So we've got Irish green, we've got behind that, what is this? Riviera blue, then that one is primer, then we've got speed yellow, Ruby Star, that's kind of cool. Ruby Star is such a nice color, and some more primer at the back to add some more colors and flair to the garage, which I think is quite a fun idea, and it actually gets me thinking a little bit as well. Obviously, I have a bit of a blue theme going on, but the fact that they offer those and the fact that you can now buy those and paint things literally in Porsche PTS colors. PTS colors have exploded in recent years. I mean, bespoke colors on cars in general, here's a perfect example, have become so personal to owners. You know, when I was doing the spec of this, I obviously went for the Alan Mann Racing tribute, and the sons, Henry and Tom, of the late Alan Mann kindly provided me some of the gold paint that they used for the restoration of the 60s GT40s, which we then used to Ford, or sent to Ford to match the stripes to paint them on the colors over the top of the red on this car. Sorry, I'm losing my wording a little bit, but it makes it so personal and such a unique thing at the end of the day. And as we've walked around here, you've seen the colors in the garage, a little bit of a bias towards blue, very similar to what I have going on at home, but obviously a huge variety. I mean, even here, the Rosso Scuderia, the Rosso Corsa, Giallo Tripastrato, the Nart Blue, Blue TDF. There's a big mix going on. And one thing I noticed as well, the spec of this had the painted shields, so the Scuderia shields up on the side. And back then, that wasn't really an option that all that many people had done. Nowadays, quite a few more do it, but this actually has them as well. And there aren't so many Pistas. You know, there are tons of 812 Competiziones with painted shields. But back when the Pista was introduced, not all that many people went for that as an option. So I love seeing it on this. It all, for me, depends on the car. Some of them can wear it really well. The SF90 XX, it actually moves the position. On the XX, if you have the normal badges, the shields, they sit ahead of the door mirrors. If you have the painted shields, they sit beneath and they get a little bit lost, and I don't really like where they end up as a result. So it does depend a lot from one car to the next. But all of these details that as I'm walking around, I'm just spotting and taking in a little bit more. Well, safe to say, with these two here, this makes for a pretty full garage. Not a whole lot of space around at the moment, but certainly amazing to have this back exactly where it was so long ago. Since then, a few things have changed. It already had the BBS FIR wheels. It already had the interior updates, the red and gold stitching that we did at Sparco when ADP had done the steering wheel and the gold shift paddles, but it has since been to Quicksilver for the GTLM style exhaust, which sounds amazing because when this car was here before, it had only done around, what, 10-15% of the mileage that it's done now. It had its original factory exhaust. Before that had the issues. I was actually down in Miami when it started to misbehave. We'd gone from here in New York, down the East Coast, all the way to Miami before going across to California with it. But literally a month and 5 years ago that this was here, exactly here, visiting Whips and Beats NYC. Well, just like that, we are back at the Shmuseum, many thousands of miles away from Whips and Beats Garage in New York. I must confess, the outro clip might have gone a tiny bit wrong, but we'll skip over that one, because I have to say, when I first visited that collection, tucked away, you'd never expect it there. It was, again, inspiration for building this, to have a location. Collections are so cool because they're so personal to the owner, whether it's the cars themselves and what's actually around, whether it's the memorabilia that's on display, as I have plenty of here at my garage that's accumulated and continues to accumulate. And that's why I love browsing on our platform, Exclusive Car Registry, at all of the different collections, to see the cars, to see the garages, to understand more about those amazing places and things that people have poured so much attention into creating, many of which I've been fortunate enough to visit and share with you guys on the channel as well. But tucked away on the streets of New York City is not where you expect to find cars like those. It's a big thanks to the owner for the opportunity to return, to be able to take a look around. I'll pop the links down below, of course, as always. But it's good to be back. We've got a very quick turnaround before more that's coming up really soon as well. But a couple of cars, as you've probably noticed, are out at service. So I haven't sold anything in the meantime. Nothing has just magically disappeared. And a couple of things need to be prepared for our next adventure happening very soon, taking the GT Black Series and taking the Zenvo to Supercar Owners Circle, amongst other things. That's it for now, though. Thank you very much for watching, as always, guys. I will see you again very soon. Cheers.